We are live.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, February 9th, 2020, and this is show number 770. How's that?
Right on
We,
time. Wow.
we started. Okay,
It's hard to believe. I got to
I
turn you
need
off.
to turn you off. Yeah. And that's why I would like a button to do this. There we go. I did learn two things, Steve, and maybe
Yes.
everybody else knew this. Every single application on Earth, when you want to go to settings, it's Command comma. All of them. You only have to learn that once. It's Command comma to get into it, and Escape gets you back out of that in Discord.
Command
All right.
comma.
Yeah, every app.
Did you hear
I learned it from Don McAllister.
the ATP gang talk about the command option control keys and how they're typically used?
No.
Oh.
We don't have time for that. We got stuff to do. I see for a roll call, we got Kevin and Marty and Rose and Rick and Sandy. It's even Troy. Troy Shimkus is here. That's exciting. Kevin is over in the sidebar here. And let's see. And Sandy, did I say Sandy? And Mac Lurker's here for sure. It looks like NASA Nut is here. We got John Ormsby. And Papagayo.
The Italian parrot.
And we got Titanbot. That might be Rose. It's hard to tell.
Happy birthday, Troy.
Oh,
it's been a good day for you.
I didn't get you anything, man. All right,
well,
we really do have a huge show.
Okay.
Did you need to say? Oh, we could sing. That's what you were going to say.
Well, no singing. You could just wish him a happy birthday on the show.
I could do that. All right, let's. I'm going to mute Steve and get going here. She did. Hey Siri, it's showtime. I think it was already showtime. I think it programmatically did it. Oh, shut up. We can all sing.
Setting the scene.
Thank you. All right, here we go. No, it's going to say somebody I couldn't do it. So, all right, here we go. Well, before we get started, I want to say a big happy birthday to Troy Shimkus, who is in the live chat room for his birthday. I mean, what could be more fun than joining the live audience of the NosillaCast? I think of a lot of things. But anyway, he's here, so happy birthday, Troy. Steve is still furiously creating the interview videos and audio from CES, and we noticed something really interesting. Remember I talked about the terrific service Otter.ai that will create transcripts suitable for video subtitles? Just last week I talked about it. Well, my free 1-month trial is still going on, so I thought I'll add subtitles to the video interviews. You know, it's still free for this month anyway, so I thought I'd do it. Well, imagine my surprise when I checked a couple of the videos and they already had subtitles. I knew that Google had started doing some magic transcription services, but I figured it would be pretty bad. So I produced the transcripts of a few videos using Otter.ai, but guess what? The Google ones are just as good as the Otter.ai ones. You know, both made mistakes, but they made different mistakes. I wasn't heartbroken that we didn't have to do this extra work, of course, but I was a little disappointed not to be able to use this new shiny tool I'd found. But then Steve noticed that out of the 20 or so videos he's produced so far, 3 did not have subtitles. And one of them had subtitles, but they were mostly in Dutch. Even better, at one point in the video, the subtitles just started saying, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, for like 2 minutes straight. Now, while that was entertaining, we decided to fix it. I taught Steve how to generate the subtitles using Otter. It took like 3 minutes to teach him because it is so easy. And now all of those videos have English subtitles. All he has to do is export the full audio with the music on both ends, import it into Otter.ai. They do their magic. He exports the SRT file and then imports it into the caption section on YouTube. Now that's extra work for him, but we think it's really cool we're able to do this. Not only does it make the videos accessible to those with hearing impairments, but you know what? Sometimes people who can hear want to watch a video, but they're in an environment where they can't play the audio. So this can help in those situations too. Very cool all around. Right? I think I'll do a chapter mark. CCATP. Oh, no, that's not right. CCA. Wrong text expander snippet. And this is programming by stealth. Let's do this one. Luckily, Steve fixed my links here. PBS 90, and we'll do that. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't refresh after you fixed it. I see the problem.
I don't think you're hearing me. And Lindsay's on.
Oh, Lindsay's here. Yeah, I muted you. Lindsay's here. Hi, Lindsay. Well, I don't see her. Can I hear you now, Steve? I am not hearing you. And I didn't change anything. Hang on. Check it way over here. Around the box.
Oh, how about now?
Oh, yeah.
I may have been on mute.
Yeah, I thought you were. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay's going to have another grandchild for me. She's baking another one.
Yeah.
Very
Hope
exciting.
You're feeling well, Linz.
All of us. All right. I really have to keep moving, Steve. Muting you now. This week, we sort of had two Programming by Stealth episodes. After Programming by Stealth 89, alert listener L. Butler on Twitter pointed out that Bart's maths were, okay, I'm going to do that again. He calls them maths, so that's why I'm using his term, his Irish term. This week, we sort of had two Programming by Stealth episodes. After Programming by Stealth 89 last week, alert listener L. Butler on Twitter pointed out that Bart's maths were actually wrong in his solution to the currency conversion homework challenge. Bart took this as a learning opportunity for himself and for us. When he figured out where his logic went awry, he wrote it up, including the solution to the problem, as a blog post. Now, this didn't exactly fit into the flow of the Programming by Stealth series, but we still wanted to talk about it. Figuring this might happen again, he dubbed this the inaugural episode of yet another series called Programming by Stealth Tidbit 1 of Why. I thought that was funny. Well, anyway, in Programming by Stealth 89, I asked the question of whether some currencies maybe don't have two decimal places, and Bart thought they all did. L. Butler also chimed in on this, telling us that Korean won and Japanese yen both don't have anything past the decimal. I explained this in the tidbit segment that I realized that the ISO 4217 database that I'm using to scrape the names of the countries contains a field called minor unit, which is actually the number of decimal places for each currency. I discovered that some have 0, as he said, most have 2, but some have 3, and some have 4 decimal places. I decided to try to update my code to take this into account. And now Bart says I have to write a blog post about how I figured it out when I do figure out how to do it. Great, more homework to do. In any case, the tidbit segment is quite short at less than 15 minutes. Then we had a real Programming by Stealth episode where Bart Buchatz explains JavaScript wrapping and unboxing. It's a really cool feature where JavaScript sort of helps us out when we need a little bit more out of some data than it's originally meant to give us. Since we've now separated the challenge solutions into standalone shows, this episode of Programming by Stealth is also pretty short by PBS standards at under 44 minutes. Both are great fun, and you can subscribe to them in your podcatcher of choice by searching for Programming by Stealth, and you can read along with Bart show notes over at pbs.bartificer.net. All right. Did you change anything else in this blog post, Steve? Because I need to make some other edits.
Yeah, there was a typo. Was supposed to be while.
Okay, I'll refresh and use yours then. Okay. I'll just use yours. All right. Good. Oh, save. There's an idea.
Yes.
Okay, so let me start with what you have. And did you catch the subtitles typo? Yes, you did fix that one. There was some other mistake I made. Well, I'm going to hope. I think I decided to try to do it. Bart says, figure it out. It's all chimed in on this one. What is the number of decimal places? I discovered some of 0, most of 2, but of 3 or more. I decided to have it up to now. Okay. I don't know. All right. I can't find it. Maybe you fixed it. Yeah, let's go with that. All right. Okay. This is going to be, I don't know if you care about this, but there is no, There is no blog post for this. But I'll make a chapter mark anyway. All right, muting Steve. Last week on the show, I told you that podfeet.com was possibly under a denial of service attack. Bart had been working with me to try to figure out what was going on. We started a free trial of a service called site247.com, which would allow me to monitor the health of my server. Throughout much of last week, we watched the site go down and then come back up. It was gruesome to just wait and watch while we tried to find a pattern to see what was happening. By we, of course, I mean Bart needed to find the pattern. The bad news is that we didn't find a pattern, but Bart did find a knob he could turn to help solve the symptoms. Let me do my best to explain my limited understanding of what he changed. A website needs web server software, and my website is run on the web server software called Apache. One of the settings for the web server is how many instantaneous web requests it will try to serve. My server was set to allow 150 per second. Now, that didn't sound like a big number to me, but Bart pointed out this is all basically simultaneously 150 people, let's say, trying to go to the same site at the exact same instant. I asked him, is 150 like CNN level traffic? And he said, well, maybe not, but Leo Laporte level traffic. That's probably not what you would expect on my site. Now, here's the problem with allowing my server to have 150 simultaneous requests. Each request spawns what's called a busy worker. Each busy worker needs some RAM. 150 busy workers at the same time need more RAM than my server actually has. So when the anomaly occurred, my server ran out of RAM and simply shut itself down. Then it restarted itself, and at that point, all was grand until it happened again. So we're calling this an anomaly because we technically don't know if it's a malicious attack. Bart sent me a note asking permission to do his own personal denial of service attack on podfeet.com. Well, that sounded fun, right? Sure, I replied. He wanted to do a controlled attack because he could test this theory about the number of busy workers and then see if he could reduce the number of busy workers that could be allowed until any attack didn't cause the server to fall over in a heap. He got down to 60 simultaneous requests and it was still dying. But when he set the maximum number of busy workers down to 50, he could no longer knock it down with his own little not distributed denial of service attack. Ever since we've been watching and these anomalies keep happening, usually like twice a day, but they never happen at the same time. And so Sandy asked me, can you see the IPs from which these requests are coming at those times? I thought that was a grand idea so I could find out who's attacking me. I didn't have any faith that finding them would help me stop them, but it seemed like fun. So I caught the problem happening at one point and I quickly grabbed the log file of web requests and I parsed it in Excel, as one does. I discovered that at pretty much any old point in time, there's a couple of IPs in Romania that are making 25% of the web requests I have. And that's when nothing bad is happening. That's just regular old web traffic. During the anomalies, I haven't found any odd behavior by a set of IPs. And in fact, the total number of hits to the site does not go up. Now, I'm not at all convinced it is a denial of service attack yet, but for now, Bart has been able to mitigate the issue. I've been keeping people up to date by posting in our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack, in our Facebook community at podfeet.com/Facebook, and a little bit on Twitter at Podfeet. And of course, I let our lovely patrons know what's going on at podfeet.com/Patreon. I almost forgot. And the Podfeet Press. I've been sending out notices on Podfeet Press as well, which you can get to by going to subscribe to the Podfeet Press right at podfeet.com. All right. Well, let's hope this has slowed it down and stopped it for now so I can stop worrying about it. All right. So this is also not a blog post, Steve. Trevor in Canberra.
Have you done a save and chapter mark lately?
I'm doing a chapter marker right now.
Let's check that.
The money.
Oh, let's get a better definition than that.
Not honey. I'll call it that. Okay.
That's better.
All right. Kicking along here. Tell me if I miss. Oh, gosh. 103 messages. I've been missing lots of fun, haven't I?
Well, half of those had to do with a bad typo on Cake Pop.
Uh-oh. I don't want to see. I don't think I
No, you
want to
don't.
know.
Just imagine.
Okay. All right. Muting Steve. Let's start off next with a quick little tip from good friend of the show, Trevor in Canberra. All righty. So I'll go here. Trevor in Canberra. This is really quick, but it's pretty fun. I love Trevor. We met Trevor when we were in Australia, about to get on the cruise when we went to see the total eclipse, and he came to the meetup that we had there with Leo, and he brought us a bottle of wine. He will be forever my best friend. All right, here we go. It's very short, so I'm going to play it. Trevor in Canberra.
Hi, Nosilla Castaways. Trevor from Canberra here with a wonderful discovery I found via a sponsored Facebook ad. Now, we all love shopping online and getting a bargain each time we purchase our new gadgets. Well, I've come across this fantastic extension for Safari that does all the legwork for us. It's called Honey, and it's free.
Oh, you're not hearing anything. Is anybody hearing it? There we are.
I'm hearing it on Mimo and YouTube. Probably
let me
they
see.
aren't on Discord.
Oops.
Did we do a live
Yep,
test?
I screwed up. We did for you and me, but not for them. All right, we're going to play it again. It's short.
Hi, Nosilla Castaways. Trevor from Canberra here with a wonderful discovery I found via a sponsored Facebook ad. Now, we all love shopping online and getting a bargain each time we purchase our new gadgets. Well, I've come across this fantastic extension for Safari that does all the legwork for us. It's called Honey, and it's free. Don't worry if you use another browser like Firefox or Google Chrome, there are extensions for them too. The company blurb goes something like this. If you don't already know, Honey is a free web browser extension that automatically scans the internet for every working coupon code while you're shopping online. Then at checkout, it instantly applies the best deal to your cart. What's not to like? Well, for a start, to allow Honey to do its so-called function, you have to give it permission in Safari. But giving permission comes with this warning. Honey can read sensitive information from your web pages, including passwords, phone numbers, and credit cards on all web pages. It can also see your whole browsing history. Sounds really dodgy to me. As Bart says, follow the money. And in this case, you don't have to look very far. I don't know if Honey even works, as I deleted it as soon as I saw that warning. I'll get my bargains from Amazon using Alison's affiliate links, and we both benefit.
Uh-oh. So was it that honey that you do love, Lindsay? Oh, yeah. Passwords?
Burst her bubble.
I know. Passwords? That doesn't sound good. Passwords and credit cards. Yikes. All right. Let me do a little recording here.
From Amazon using Alison's affiliate links, and we both benefit.
Well, thank you for that, Trevor. That's pretty crazy. That I don't think I've ever read a privacy setting that said that. I do love to see the effect that Bart's guidance has had on all of us. You know, I never used to read privacy policies, but I'm doing it more and more. Your story works perfectly into security bits later in the show. And also, thanks for mentioning the Amazon affiliate links. I love that. All right, let's kick into an interview from CES. All right. Here.
You do a little save there?
In a second. Copy link. And when I put the thing in, then I will. What are you saying about?
NDI is still not updating. I have to go in and tickle it every once in a while.
Really?
Yeah. Very frustrating.
He's tickling NDI. Lindsay says, be right back. Gotta go change all my passwords and credit cards.
See you,
all right. Oh, this is fun. Hindenburg's crashed. I don't know if I saved.
Oh, maybe that's why it's not updating.
Oh, there we go. Oh, maybe. I'm trying to drag a file in and it got like halfway in. Can you see it? Yeah. That's not you. That's me.
Okay.
I'm going to save and quit because that's not right.
All right.
I'll have to reconnect it. It's like it got halfway in. I assume I lost you.
No.
It's still there?
Oh, Hindenburg. Yeah, I lost that. Yes.
Okay.
I'm still here.
No, but goof. I'm talking about you lost the video.
Let me tickle it again. Let's see.
Okay. See where it was.
No, it's still up.
No, I just reconnected it.
Okay. Oh,
I thought I could click on that and it would get there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. All right. So let's try this again. Try dragging top greener in. Come on. There it goes. All righty. No worries. I have your credit card number saved, Lindsay. Thanks, Kevin. Kick into an interview from CES.
We're in the Top Greener booth, and I'm chatting with Kyle Meglin, and he's going to show us USB-C receptor.
His name was Kyle, right?
Yep.
You guys are going to love this one. This guy is so excited about outlets. He's got USB outlets, and I mean, he is losing his ever-loving mind. He's so happy about these outlets. He's telling me about it. It was such a fun interview.
But
we
that
should
last
buy one of those.
That last one was pretty cool.
Yeah, I forget what it have. It has USB-C
It had
and
60-watt USB-C with power delivery. It had USB-A.
2 USB-A.
No,
and 2 USB-C or something.
No, a USB-A, a USB-C, and 2 power outlets, AC outlets.
Oh, okay. USB triggers my OCD. Mall outlets. Okay. You guys are out of control tonight.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do a quick little blurb.
That one then.
There you go. Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Kyle.
Sounds great.
So I just absolutely loved Kyle's total excitement about USB power receptacles. I mean, that's a guy who loves the product and loves what he does, isn't it? They did look really cool, and but I loved how he kept teasing the very best one till the end. All right. Now we're going to do another one. We're going to do Shure MV8. Steve really liked this woman. Right?
Yes.
Whoops.
Wait, am I?
Are you allowed to say that?
No, I was just wondering if I was muted. I seem to be muted half the time now.
No. Yeah, you don't need to mute yourself. I'm muting you each time.
All right.
Because I think if you can talk to the audience while I'm talking, can't you?
If they're listening on Discord.
True. Right. Well, but that's the only way they can hear you. Oh, no, if they're watching YouTube.
Some people watch YouTube, and so they don't.
Okay. TMI. I am the listening. All right. So now it's the Shure MVI. Why did I do these? Oh, you put them in. You posted these out of order.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a problem with that?
No. Sorry. Jeez. That was rough.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark that one as green. Don't worry. There's big excitement coming after this microphone. You get to hear about cat litter. All right. Kept teasing the very best one till the end.
I'm a big fan of the Shure products. I always have. I use the Shure MVI as my mic interface. And I am standing here with Laura Davidson from Shure right now, and she's going to talk to us about a mic for the iPhone.
Yeah, so this is the MV88 Plus video kit. So it comes with everything you see.
She's got a great voice.
Well, she's a singer.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And in fact, there was a video of her performing, but it was muted in the background while she was giving us the interview.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is connected kitty litter, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
it is.
so.
It's connected more than you'd think.
Okay, I'm going to put a chapter mark in here. I don't think I need to say anything about the Shure MVI yet. All right. Some content from me, even though this show would be plenty long without any content from me. Joe LaGreca said I wasn't allowed to be completely lazy. Hey, quit snoring. I let Tessa be in the room with me. Can you see her?
Nope.
No. If I go this way, can you see her?
There's some brownish. There's Tesla.
All right. I let her come in with me tonight, but she's snoring. I'm afraid of what the logo will look like in Kitty. Oh, that reminds me of something Molly said in her thing. All right, we've got some really good chit chats coming up. All right, wait, I better find. I put the chapter mark in, but I didn't bring up my article. So we are on Tesla Tech. Range anxiety is real.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, there's not much pictures in this. This one's gonna be long. All right, we are at 20 minutes. We have a 45-minute security bits too. And I got like 3 more things to talk about. This is gonna be a long. Okay, here we go. Muting Steve. Here we go. One of the things people talk about with electric vehicles is the concern you might have about whether you've got enough battery charge in your car to make it to your destination. They call this range anxiety. With an internal combustion engine, or ICE, like those of us in the EV world like to call it, with an ICE vehicle, you usually have lots of options to stop and get gas, and getting gas is a matter of maybe 10 minutes, including a bio break. But with an electric vehicle, you have to make sure there is a charging station on your path, and you have to make sure it will charge you up enough in a reasonable length of time. For the Teslas, we use these things called superchargers, and they charge very, very quickly, but you have to make sure there's one on your path. Now, a while ago, I wrote a Tesla Tech article I entitled, How Long Does It Take to Charge?, in which I discussed all of the variables that go into answering that question. I think that long list of variables adds up to range anxiety. I have to confess that I downplayed range anxiety at first, and I assumed I'd just be able to come up with some easy assumptions and algorithms to ensure an anxiety-free road trip. The problem is data-driven, so it should be a cakewalk for me. But I was wrong. The more I drive the Model 3, the more range anxiety I'm getting because I don't completely understand how to figure it out, how far I can go. I haven't cracked the code on this just yet. I mean, I have a master's degree in engineering, remember? So if it's hard for me, how do normal people do this? I'm going to walk you through 3 road trips we've taken in the last 6 months and how they affected my range anxiety. We drove to Fresno last October to visit Steve's parents. Fresno is about 230 miles from our house in LA. The particular model of Tesla I bought has a max range of 310 miles. Now, we all remember the line, your mileage may vary, but let's assume 310 is a good baseline assumption of the range of this vehicle anyway. I have a home Tesla wall charger that adds 33 miles of range in an hour, or 33 miles per hour. At that rate, I can charge it completely overnight. Now, it's not good for this kind of battery to be charged to 100% all the time, so they give you a little on-screen slider that allows you to choose 100% for road trips or, say, 80% for day-to-day charging. For our Fresno trip, the night before, we chose 100%. Now, while we believed we could easily make it to Fresno on that single 230-mile, wait, shoot, what? That single, oh, that's it. I see what I was going to say. Okay, sorry. Well, we believed we could easily make it to Fresno on that single charge. It was only 230 miles of driving on a 310-mile charge. We didn't want to wind up in Fresno with an empty battery, so we stopped for a snack and charged up midway there, and then we were able to tootle around town while we were in Fresno without worrying about the electrical power, the battery left in the car. The problems arose when we drove home. Before we left the Fresno area, we went to the local Tesla supercharger where you can charge at up to 500 miles per hour, at least for the first 70% where the charge curve is linear. And we did a little shopping at the local mall, bought some Christmas presents for Forbes. It was a lot of fun. I forget how high we charged it up, but I think it was like around 90%. According to my mad skills at subtraction, I should have had more than enough charge to easily drive from Fresno to our friend Nancy's house in LA to pick up Tesla, the dog, not the car, and then drive the rest of the way home. It should have been no problem at all. But just to be on the safe side, we stopped at a supercharger about halfway home to top it off. When we plugged it in, we saw the speed of charge ramp up to the expected 500 miles per hour for a supercharger, but then it went past 500. 500 is supposed to be the max. It went 500 to 600, then 700, and then it stopped charging. Confused, we pulled out the charging cable, put it back in, and the same thing happened again. Now we assume this must be a broken charging station, so we moved to a new one. And the same thing happened again. We tried a third one, same problem. Now, we were really angry that so many chargers appeared to be broken. Finally, we moved to a stall where someone had just successfully finished charging, and that one worked. While we were relieved to finally be able to charge, you can imagine that this incident reduced our confidence that we would always be able to get a charge. Did have a fun little story while we were there, though. The driver of the Tesla next to us got out of his car, and it was the actor Larry David, best known for the TV show Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he's also on Saturday Night Live right now playing Bernie Sanders. Anyway, he walked into the same restaurant I was going into, so I was right behind him, and he let the door slam in my face. Oh, that was my big touch with fame. Okay, so we had a lovely lunch. We stayed over an hour charging the car. We watched a little Andy Griffith on the Tesla screen using Netflix, and it was actually a lovely way to have lunch. I'm thinking that I'm learning that this is the wrong strategy, not the Andy Griffith part, the long charging time. Sitting there for an hour or more is a waste of time. Makes more sense to stop a few times for 20 to 30 minutes to charge because you're on that sweet part of the curve where you gain a lot of energy in a small amount of time. After a half hour, you're really not gaining enough to be worth the time spent. Anyway, back on the road, we started to watch the range we had for our trip. Let's talk about how you know that range when you're in a Tesla Model 3. There are two separate indicators. Next to the speedometer readout, there's a little bar graph that looks like a normal computer battery bar, and it tells you how many miles you can go. There's also an energy icon on screen that gives you a pretty graph called consumption. The vertical axis is your energy consumption in watt hours per mile, and it graphs the data over the last 5 miles, 15 miles, or 30 miles. Let's now it says MI. I assume that means miles, not minutes. But anyway, let's assume it's miles. On the same graph, you also get a dotted line showing your projected range based on how you've been driving. As we were driving home, I looked at both versions of the range. The little battery symbol next to the speedometer said 203 miles, which was plenty of range to get home. But the consumption graph said I could only go 122 miles. So now I get that there's a lot of variables in these calculations, so absolute precision is not expected, but having the main indicator show me 66% more range than the consumption graph, that's terrifying. Which one is right? At this point in the trip, we'd been pretty much driving on flat ground, but ahead of us, we had to pass through the mountains on Interstate 5 called the Grapevine, which would be a climb to around 4,000 feet. As we started up the Grapevine, I saw our watt hours per mile consumption climbing, and that range number was dropping, and it looked like we might not make it to Nancy's house. But after we got over the pass and started to go downhill, the consumption rate plummeted, and the range said we could go 999 miles. Well, that's super helpful now, isn't it? Of course, we could go 1,000 miles as long as we're coasting downhill. Anyway, we eventually got back on flat ground, and according to the battery bar, we would easily make it to Nancy's, but not make it home from her house. Good grief. We had to stop again and charge. We ended up hitting LA rush hour traffic because of all the charging stops, so the trip took us 7 hours when it should have taken maybe 5. So, lessons learned, short booster stops, and watch the graph obsessively to make yourself crazy. So that was the first trip. Now, we drove the Tesla to CES in Las Vegas this year for the first time. It's 286 miles from our house to Las Vegas with a pass or two over 4,000 feet. We discussed our EV planning with our friend Ron, who had driven his Tesla Model S to Vegas a couple of weeks before. He suggested a few places for Tesla superchargers along the way, and one in Las Vegas he recommended. We stopped on the way in Baker. We had a quick 30-minute lunch at El Pollo Loco while the car charged up, and we ended in Las Vegas with 11% left. Looks like we figured this out now, right? Well, maybe not. While we were in Vegas, we hung out with our good friend Joe LaGreca. He's been contemplating getting a Tesla for his wife, and he was super interested in seeing the car and how things worked with charging. We decided to drive the car rather than our usual Uber when we went out to dinner about 12 miles away. The indicator said we had enough miles of range to make the round trip, but with the variability we've run into, we didn't trust it. We decided to go to the Tesla supercharger next to the Link Hotel. This is the one Ron told us about it. He explained to us that there's a secret code you need to enter that you find on screen in your car, and you enter it into this little keypad at the entrance to the supercharger. It made me feel special, like we were in the in crowd. We plugged in one of the chargers. Remember the problem we had coming back from Fresno where the charge rate went up to 700 miles per hour and then stopped? It happened again. We tried it again and again, and it kept stopping and saying, check equipment. Well, I took the connector and I blew into it like you do with a game cartridge from the 90s, but inexplicably that didn't fix it. We tried 3 more stations and all of them had the same behavior. Now, I want you to note that there were like a dozen other people at stations happily charging away. We even tried one that a guy had just been using to charge, and it still failed. Now, we burned up a lot of the time we had for charging before we had to go to dinner, so we were getting really anxious. We noticed they had some regular home chargers against another wall, so we tried one of those and it worked. But those take 35, it takes an hour to get 35 miles. So we weren't going to be able to get enough charge to make it to dinner. Now, at this point, Joe made a really astute observation. He said he noticed that each time we tried to use the supercharger, in the few minutes before it failed, we were actually gaining about 5 miles. He suggested we could just do it over and over and over again and gain range faster that way than sitting on this dumb home charger. We gave his idea a try, and not only did it charge 5 miles each attempt, after about 4 times, it actually started to charge normally. Now, when we were on this last attempt, I called Tesla to ask their advice. The dude on the phone told me that the entire station was offline and that's why I couldn't charge. I pointed out to them the other dozen people who were successfully charging, but he said, nope, I can't see the station, so there's nothing I can do. I told him maybe it's my car that's having the problem, not the charger. And I asked him, tap into it, run a diagnostic or something. We know Tesla can see what our cars are doing, right? But he said he couldn't do that because the station was offline. It wasn't, of course, but I was understandably upset. And I told him I wanted a manager to call me back. He said I'd get a call in the next 24 to 48 hours. That was in January, and I have not received a call back from Tesla. The only good news is that while we were having this happen to us, we started talking to a guy who was charging, and he showed us a really cool app and gadget for the Tesla, but I'm going to tell you about that on another day. We did make our dinner. It wasn't exactly the relaxing experience I was hoping for, and you can imagine how much my range anxiety ramped up. Also of note, I don't think Joe's quite as excited about buying his wife a Tesla as he was before. My final example might shed some light on the issues with predicting the range of my vehicle. We were in San Diego playing with Lindsay and Nolan and Forbes this last weekend. By playing, I mean Steve installed a smart Ecobee thermostat and a Rachio smart sprinkler system while I did drywall repair on a hole in my future granddaughter's bedroom wall. It was awesome. Anyway, we charged the car to 100% before we left, and that should be 310 miles. I told Steve this was overkill. We already had enough charge, but he said, no, we should fill it 100%. I should listen to him more often. So in the morning, we made the 3-mile round trip car to Starbucks for mochas and a cake pop. Then I drove 18 miles round trip to drop off Forbes at daycare. We then piled up Tesla in the Tesla and we drove the 97 miles to Kyle's house. We met up with Kyle and his wife, Nikki, and we drove 44 miles round trip to Newport Beach for a baby CPR class. They're having a baby too. Anyway, then we drove the 17 miles home to our house. If you add that all up, and I use all the fingers on both hands to do the addition, that's a grand total of 179 miles on what is supposed to be a 310-mile range vehicle. We should have had 131 miles left. But the energy consumption graph said that at the rate we'd been consuming, we only had 35 miles left. That means we were short nearly 100 miles. I'm okay with your mileage may vary, but being short by 30% is not acceptable. When we put the car in park, we got an on-screen warning that said, battery low. There will be significantly less energy available from your battery if it gets colder. We recommend charging now. We have a weather station, so I can tell you exactly how cold it was. I know batteries don't do well at low temperatures, but it was 48.2 degrees when it told me it was cold and it wasn't going to be able to, we really needed to charge. That should not have been cold enough to affect our range by 30%. So maybe I'm just not clever enough to understand the range of this car, or maybe there's something wrong with the car. So I've made an appointment at the Tesla service center. Actually, they're going to send somebody to my house to check out my car. I don't know. Maybe I need to understand the impact of wind. It was windy. Maybe the air conditioner and the heater were changing the range of the car. Maybe it was because I had my seat heater on at one point. Maybe it's the external temperature, or possibly the phase of the moon. See what I mean? Range anxiety is real, people. Done. Whew.
Whew.
All right.
That was your long one for tonight, right?
Yeah, that's my only other one.
All right.
That was fun, though. I was feeling it. Did I tell you all that, Lindsay? Is she still here? Yeah. Did I tell you all that went wrong on our way home?
That's right. It was on the way home from her place, so she may not have
Yeah.
heard this.
Yeah. Drove me
Yes,
crazy.
you did.
That's the wrong one. I don't want that one. I want a different one. This is the one I want to see. There we go. Yeah, but you know what? Even if they're every 3 miles, if I got to stop at 200 miles, my car's supposed to go 300, I'm still mad. I'm really hoping something's just wrong with my car. All right.
Hopefully, we find out next Thursday.
Yeah. Is that how soon it is?
Mm-hmm.
A week from Thursday, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's
So,
see.
Lindsay's
Cat
having a
litters
little
next.
debate
What's that?
whether we named Tesla after the company or the scientist.
It was after the scientist. Please tell no. I did not name my dog after the car. Is Nolan listening? Yeah. So we were going to name. We went back and forth on names, and we had decided that the dog we got would be named Higgs after the Higgs boson, or the professor, the scientist who discovered the Higgs. And so we called her Higgs for like the first hour, and it sounded funny to call a girl Higgs. And then she rolled over on her back and she had a Tesla logo on her chest. And that's when we named it to Tesla, changed it to Tesla, but not because of the car, because Tesla was another physicist. I wanted to call her Feynman.
It sounds more like a girl dog.
Yeah. I wanted to call my dog Damn It. Oh, that's awesome.
Dog Damn It.
All right. Man, I got 2 more interviews and security bits to go. Good gracious.
So take that, Nolan.
So there. Well, the logo was the trigger to change to a different physicist.
Maybe that's a technicality. I don't know.
Maybe. See what I mean? Range anxiety is real, people.
I've noticed that there is a...
Okay, we're going to talk about cat litter now.
Oh boy.
All right, let me finish that one.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much, Samantha.
Thank you for your time.
Hold up, Al.
Well, what's wrong?
I think it's WeCharge next.
No, it's not.
Did you change the order?
I don't know. I'm telling you, it's iCuddle. I'm looking at my show notes.
Okay. You got it.
I don't have to do them in the same order they're on the thing.
Nope, that's fine.
On the blog. Okay, here we go.
Do it any order. It's your
Muting
show.
Steve.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much, Samantha.
Thank you for your time.
Well, at first, when I realized there were 5 companies working on cat litter removal at CES, I thought I should interview them all. But I'm sorry to say that iCuddle is the only cat litter interview we did at CES. There we go. And chapter mark. You're allowed to talk for a second. Oh, man, this is going to be long.
I'm allowed to talk? Well, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You can unmute yourself, right?
I always do.
I don't recommend it. All right, that one's done. Green. Okay, and then WeCharge comes in next. Papagayo is leaving? Podcast anxiety.
Yeah, he had to go.
Why am I seeing pictures of poop?
Those are unresolved links in Discord.
Why are those unresolved? It's unresolved images, it looks like. But I'm seeing it a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's a featured image. Maybe I think Discord may be having.
Did you do cat litter for a poop emoji for the cat litter?
Thank you, Kevin just filled it in. That's perfect.
Let's see. iCuddle is the only cat litter interview we did at CES.
This is the second time I'm going to use the word witchcraft in my interviews already this week.
This one is really cool. Okay, that's not. Oh, God, it's going to be a 2-hour show.
So that one resolved. I don't know why some are and some aren't.
All right, here we go.
This is very, very cool. I'm very excited to have found you. Thank you.
Thank you.
When Steve posted the link to the WhyCharge video in our Slack, there were a couple of great questions. John Dawson questioned the marketing description that we put in the video explanation. He said he'd really rather like to know if Allison was telling him that it was true that this was as cool as it sounds. L. Butler also asked about some specifics on whether it's really shipping. Do we really think it could deliver the power that you've all told me it could do? There are 2 typos I got to fix. Thing.
You want me to
It's
go
hard to
do
find.
them, or you got them?
No, I got to do them from this side. Thank you. Tell me it was true that it was as cool as it sounds. About whether it's really shipping. Did we think it could deliver the power that? There we go. Sorry, over here. All right. These are both great questions, and they're really kind of related. First of all, I don't always know whether the devices are real and whether there ever will be real products. Steve explained on Slack that there are several different categories of devices and products shown at CES. He pointed out that there are some more established companies like Bridge, Shure, Ring, Sense, Belkin. These reliably ship what and when they say they will. In fact, many of these companies are often shipping the products that they're showing off at CES. Sense was an example of that. The product they showed us was actually already on Amazon. Steve went on to explain that some smaller companies ship the product late or possibly not at all. But sometimes they surprise you. Remember the Akuva earbuds with removable batteries? As we walked away from that interview, I told Steve I thought they were clearly not close to shipping because the models we saw did not appear to be production units. They looked, they were a little bit clunky looking, and I didn't think they were ready to go into production. Imagine my surprise last week when I got an email from them saying they're shipping the product already. So you never really know. There's also the companies that are showing off really early development products. Remember Steve's interview with Dr. Andrei Dragomir of Aquark Technologies about the compact quantum devices? Well, those were definitely prototypes, but it's still really cool to see the future before it gets here. Like YCharge, these won't be devices you ever buy directly from these companies, but rather their technology will hopefully be a part of other devices in the future. That'll be weird if we have quantum devices in our homes, but anyway. Overall, we choose the vendors we interview based on whether the product seems to solve a real problem for people, and then we try to show it to you in a light where you understand whether the product is anywhere near being something we can actually buy. I really appreciate those great questions, guys. Keep them all coming. I mentioned our lovely patrons when I was talking about how I was messaging the community. You may be wondering what this is about, or this may be the 238th time you've heard me talk about it. The idea, anyway, is that you can help support the production of the show financially by going to podfeet.com/Patreon and deciding on a dollar amount per show that you'd like to pledge. Think about the value you get from the show. Might be learning new tools. Might be learning about a gadget you now know you can't live without. It might be learning about how to diagnose a denial of service attack, or what things to be worried about or not worried about in security bits. Or maybe you're just entertained. If you get $1 a week's worth of value out of the different shows we do here on the Podfeet podcast, go ahead and become a patron. If you are having trouble making ends meet, I forbid you to become a patron. Seriously, do not do it and don't feel badly about it. Only do this if you have the money to spare and you would like to help keep the podcast going. Rolled right into that. Security Bits is next.
So Troy installed Sense.
Oh, man. I asked for one for my birthday.
But it's not all positive. He said it's not good at identifying the different devices in the house.
That's what it's supposed to be good at.
Right. So remember the guy talked about this AI, sensing the different energy profiles that the devices. Sounds like they are still working on that, perfecting that.
Well, I want one anyway for my birthday.
He did say it does identify the power leaks, the power hogs in the house.
I mean, maybe you have to do a little bit of teaching. I'm okay with that. Don't ruin my fun. I
wonder if you can teach it. Can you, say, no, this isn't that device, but it's this.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. I think
Troy
you
said
can.
You can't. Huh. Interesting.
You're ruining my birthday, Troy. Don't tell me this.
Well, it still might be. It learns from crowdsourcing. So these are like energy profiles that are sourced through all the users.
I don't want to know all this. You're taking all the discovery away. Stop telling me, please. Seriously, I don't want to know. Okay, I'm going to listen to this transition here. Bear, and you would like to help keep the podcast going. Nope, too far. There we go.
Oh, on the good side, Marty bought one of the RAV power devices and loves it.
Which one?
He didn't.
Oh, the RAV power gallium nitride. Uh-oh. I don't think Marty was answering Sandy. I think he was answering me. I hope. Because Sandy asked Marty, has RAV ever put out a bad power device? And he wrote, yep.
Yeah, I think he was talking to you.
Okay, I hope so. All right. Mike is here. Mike, you're late.
Mike, are you?
Mike's off on a big adventure. We didn't get a picture with you, Mike, when you were here.
I thought we did.
Did we? I don't remember doing it. How dumb is that? He says. Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah, maybe if we could just use the one he took with
Ken
Ray. Say
maybe we could Photoshop us on either side.
There you go. Let me check this transition here. Wait. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for security. I think that should slide over a little bit more. What do you think? Ooh, what is that? Got it.
Mike gets a break because he's on vacation.
Okay. Better late than never.
Oh,
well, it's that time of the week
this evening. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, he can bring some wine that he picked up in California when he comes.
I saw that collection. I saw a Zacca Mesa and I saw a Foxen.
Oh, good. Love Foxen and Zacca Mesa.
Yeah, they're both good.
Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Boost Shots. How you doing today, Bart?
I am doing fine. I have survived Storm Kira.
Recovered from being smacked by a car?
I am.
Kind of a long gap there. Smacked by a car?
I am. Yes, I am. If I think back to how I was 2 weeks ago, I am much better. If I think back to how perfect it is, I am a long way to go.
You can breathe.
But
now.
I was told 4 to 6 weeks recovery, right? So
okay,
I'm more than a third better.
Okay, good. You can breathe without. All right. Boy, we had a bunch of problems with hour and 43. We've been longer. We had a bunch of problems with Discord. It kept breaking up on us. I had a lot of editing to do after that show. All right. Bringing it home here. If I finish my work, I get red wine.
Remember to stay patched so you stay secure.
Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. If you made it to the end of the show, you made it to an hour and 43 minutes. These are big shows during this time of year. Anyway, don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. You can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at podfeet. Now, remember, we talked about all the different ways to connect. Everything's good starts with podfeet.com. You want podfeet.com/Patreon, podfeet.com/PayPal for one-time donations if you'd prefer that, podfeet.com/Facebook, podfeet.com/Slack, podfeet.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, like Troy did for his actual birthday, and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Boom. Was that a clap by Frank? This was a lively group considering it started out small, but it accelerated, got to be fun.
Yes, it was.
NosillaCast outro. How about that? It's funny, Lindsay, that you showed up today. I was thinking, hey, Lindsay hasn't been here in a long time. Actually, when I was bringing Tesla in, she, I thought, I haven't seen Lindsay here in a while. It's funny that you came that same day. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, this needs to be like that. I gotta find a better way to do this. we're going to a podcast thing next week in LA. By the way, I found out that's not the same podcast thing we've been to, Steve, because I got a letter from them saying they were excited we were coming and they're hoping to make this very first one great.
Because if it was the same, they wouldn't have been excited because we were there last year.
Well, they wouldn't have said it was the first time. You always remember to log on at like 5:55. Yeah. Castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Nope. Too soon. Too soon. And stay subscribed. Oh, something like that. Move it over a little bit like that. That's good. All right. I think, Kevin made it all the way to the end, huh?
That he did.
Good job, Kevin. All right. I'm going to export the show and I'm going to publish it. It was very exciting for me, for all of you to be here. I know Steve enjoyed your company as well.
Always do. This is one of my highlights.
It really is. We really look forward to this. We get all excited. We have it's almost like having a real job that we have to be somewhere at some time once a week, right? Bye, Lindsay. Love you.
See you, Linz.
All right. Steve needs more company. Well, he's got a dog and me.
Yeah. And 2 cats.
Actually, Dave Hamilton's coming to visit on Tuesday, so he'll have his little friend over.
Yes.
See, Rose says I've earned my glass of wine.
Yes, medicine. You get your red medicine.
All right, I'm going to kiss Rose goodbye too. Bye-bye, Rose. Goodbye, everybody. Peace out.
Casey.